Many times us executive leaders in the workforce, we wanted to eventually think we can take a break. We can take a vacation for a few weeks or at least give ourselves a long weekend. However, it often feels like after we come back from that break, we have more work piled up because everything got backtracked. And perhaps you did not delegate to the right people, or you're the type of people it's like delegating costs me even more time and headache. I have to repeat a lot more for anybody to do it for me. Or you actually want it and you did attend a summit of some sort, whether it is healthcare business, leadership, networking. And it seems like, again, you did not rest. Your mind is going. You're talking to so many people. Even all those people that you spoke to, you want to connect with, you start forgetting who they are. And you have a pile of business cards or digital cards. And then what's next? Everything seems to be overwhelming. But how do you create and actually attend a retreat that help you to slow down and speed up, and help you to actually have the right tools that you feel rejuvenated after you come back, and not just a simple vacation that you feel like, oh my God, there's still 10,000 things in the back of my head I need to do after I return. It's actually prepare you to the point that you don't need to feel that I need a vacation for another vacation. You're actually at the right place with the right strategy and tools for yourself to build resilience, for your companies to be in a better place with the winning strategies and knowing exactly what to do to move forward. So today we have Lorca Smetana with us, a resilience expert who is here to discuss how do you truly go on a retreat, and what we're talking about the book of you retreat, to get you winning strategy for yourself and for your company.
Welcome to Health Tech Growth, the weekly podcast for healthcare founders and innovators, where we explore essential strategies to create successful and sustainable healthcare startups that improve patient outcomes and transform the healthcare industry.
Hi, Lorca, and I can't wait for us to dive a little deeper in today's topic. I think all of us love being with other people, right? So we go to summits, business events, and sometimes we hear all these amazing speakers, and then you're like, oh, I wrote all those notes and they're chicken scratches. And but what do I need to do with them? Right? Where we take all these pictures on the amazing slides, and then we feel like we're just drinking from a fire hose, so inspired, but then we kind of went back to our old ways. Or the other spectrum of vacationing. Oh yes, we finally took a vacation, but I was still checking my text messages, emails every day and couldn't let that go. Right. As you're seeing that repetitive nature of how we function as leaders, executives, founders in this space, what do you see as the most common challenges when it comes to be able to have that resilience to keep going and actually get to a higher level of success that they meant to be?
I think that part of this whole question comes down to an underlying difference, which I find shows up in two different words that we have for retreats or for going away, and these are the words vacation, which we use most in here in the United States, and what they use in England, which is holiday. And underlying those two words are two very different hearts. And one of them is vacating, just getting out of here. And even this sense of emptiness and of like just pushing away. And holiday actually shares roots with the word whole. And so if we give ourselves a different criteria for what we expect from time away from work, we can say, I just need to get away, or we can say, what could I be doing that actually that will make me more wholly myself, more wholly be able to face what is, even though I don't know what it is next. And using that criteria, we actually find ourselves making different choices. for where we go, when we go, who we go with, and what kinds of learning and growth we are inviting for ourselves each time.
Right? Is that how do we invite the right people, information, things, and
Hmm.
then environment to go with us for that individual experience. And I think, just personally, a lot of people go on these events because they're in a fun city, right? They're in a great place they haven't visited, or because they simply want to be there because all the people, other people who are showing up. Now, those are definitely influence or differentiate factors we all have to consider, but how many times have we asked ourselves to say, am I gaining both a personal growth and a career advancement at the same time? Do I at rejuvenation, at energy, at knowledge, at skill set, all at the same time, where we have to pick and choose. And if we can get everything at the same time, how do we make the best decision when it comes to these engagements? Or if they have to go because of work, how do we figure out the best modality, right? To be able to, okay, you're there to stand out, you're there to engage with people. And then because that takes a lot of energy, no matter you're introvert, extrovert, you have to know how to rejuvenate from conversation to conversation and knowing have a right system to keep track of all these people. At the same time, when you go into a retreat like the Book of You retreat that we're hosting, is about actually we want you to completely unplug and to be able to say you are at the place to build yourself, to understand who you are so other people can support you much easier. To when you're in the stressful situation, people can spot it. When you're in great situation, people can also share, right, the joy. And when we come down to strategizing all your amazing creative thoughts, how do we then convert it into something implementable and not just, oh, we have things in place, but we don't know what that next step looks like, right? So share with us a bit about your island idea, right? So for us, it really is getting people, especially a small group of no more than 25 in this amazing luxury island type of resort where we can immerse ourselves into an experience over 4 days and going over what share a little bit about what that island looks like and how is that correlating with what it meant for these high functional leaders.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think in my work, the island is it's both actual and metaphorical. So it's a model that we can use where we can say, what are the kinds of elements, right, that are persistent, confirmed teachers of how to we help us be more and more resilient, both for ourselves and as leaders, as radiant leaders, among others. And so when we use a model of a village on an island, then we're like, hey, there are households. We can take ourselves within to those households and be taught by them. So experimenting and exploring with elements of how what are our relationships with our bodies, what are our relationships with things that we're not in control of, right, with our own personal wildernesses. What are they? Do we even know what they are, right? What is our relationship with a really muscular, agile, skilled form of self-compassion, right? How much time and energy do we lose on a regular basis in self-judgment, and uh, and then what kind of actually damage and trauma do we do when we are persistently self-judging in our own heads all again and again and again? It's not a nice, it's not a good, fruitful relationship. And if that's the one that's happening right within ourselves, cleaning that up early on actually changes how we can be with absolutely everything and everyone. So the having the spaciousness to immerse ourselves in this, learn where we are being beautifully resilient, where we have fragilities, and where we're really already beautifully robust. All of those things are naturally and beautifully change who we are when we get back. And the primary lens, I think, of a gathering like this and of resilience practice and design in general, um, are very much grounded in, I would say, a dialogue of self-honoring, right? Where in your life right now are you completely not honoring yourself? Where are you not making it easy for others to beautifully support you? Where are you persistently um, doing things that are not yours to do, or attaching your well-being or your success or to things that are outside of your control? So all of these places are loss of energy, loss of focus, loss of impact, and we can really, with by adding clarity, we do ourselves and everyone around us a very powerful kindness.
Right. And then this clarity, I think, is from within and outside, right? The clarity of us being able to create the extra space for the creative juice to actually flow. Otherwise, it's blocked. It's that we're doing so much. Everyone's always thinking, oh, I don't need a strategy. I just need more people to do things.
Hmm.
Okay. But that means there's no space for you to actually monitor to know what's going on. You just have everybody spend the money, energy, and human capital just to do. So if you don't have that streamlined strategy, even though you have a really high funding to do a campaign, it doesn't make sense, right? So sometimes I feel like people get into the rush of just doing, um, but you have to have everything lined it out, dotted, um,
Hmm.
and even to say we don't need a perfect, we have a phase one, at least is something had the right system, right tools, the right people to puzzle it together before you do, right? So we have to give ourselves both the plan and the space to say there need to be space for creativity. Things not always going to go exact the way that you wanted to. So what's the room of error, of surprises, of fire that come to your way that we don't feel bad about things are not going your way, right? So we
Hmm.
needed to have those tools. And then also is the clarity of common understanding. Each of us have a different way based on our physical feature. How do we understand the world? How do we influence others? And what we talk about body of nine, there's 9 categories. But do you even understand yourself, right? You might have taken multiple psychological testing, personality tests. Awesome. But those things change with your social environmental changes. So understand that you are going to be in different stressful state that other people are not. How can they support you on this journey when those things happened? And when you can spot other people, especially your co-founders, your if you're the CEO, your COO might be stressed out. Or if you're the CMO, you can see your CEO is now doing and understanding what you're proposing, right? How do you pivot that relationship and not just saying, oh, we're very open communicating. That's a great thing to have, but that's great when you're in this peaceful state. Not necessarily you can get through it in a
Hmm.
stressful state. So when you are able to have this clarity in your leadership, in your day-to-day communication, in creating those boundaries and creating space for unpredictable to happen, that's what truly what we believe in, especially with uh, if I'm correct, Lorca, this island model of yes, we're immersing ourselves in an island to create our own island.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, an island, whether it's actual or metaphorical, is a refuge, right? And so we go on refuge when we need temporarily to reorganize within ourselves so that we can go back out and bring that clarity back out. And I I think probably the most useful quick test for resilience might actually well be drama. Right? So, if you say to yourself, "I'm really resilient. I have a really resilient system in myself, and my organization is really resilient," where if there are persistent arenas of drama, then that's a sign that there is a lot of waste heat energy going off into the ether, and all of that can be reharvested back in when we understand the role that we have, um, in this, not only with drama that shows up with others, because it's always a partnership, but the drama that arises within us day after day after day, that is that is that we can meet, right, in a very different way, and with learnable, teachable tools, right? So, and every bit of that we come to terms with goes into what matters, right? It goes into our new projects. It goes into the person we meet when we walk in the front door. And so this is where life quality is materially changed in the process of becoming more and more resilient human.
Yeah, especially is the experience that we create for ourselves and for
Hmm.
other people, and it comes from every single little thing, right? It's the way that we say things, the way that we carry, the way we're whether intentionally want to look into each other's eyes or not, because everyone has that different preference. And we say 50% are connectors in humans, right? That which means we need eye contact, and versus and they feel disrespected if you are not giving to them, and then there you can say, hey, there's a generation things, yeah, all the possibility is there, but how do we build the environment we need to, um, and for us it is that experience, right? We when you come to us, everything we cater to you. We're booking your travels. And I think a lot of time why certain big events that you tend to feel like, oh, that's great to do, but you don't want to. It's like, oh my God, I still have to find my flights. Where do I stay? How do I show up there? Transportation, it become a big headache because that requires additional personal preference planning. And we take that all away from your busy life and then simply be able to get you exactly where to do, where to go, pick you up, and then have that luxury experience while we're building you, because you deserve to be treated well and you deserve to learn how to have that higher level of resilience and be able to share those tools to the rest of your leadership teams and beyond. And it's not just a fun happy hour cocktail, right? We're gonna have those activity, but it's about exploring what truly be you to activate. How can you be in other people's shoes naturally and doesn't feel like forced? We're having that sales call, we're having that leadership call, and understand what type of activity that drains you versus activate you. And then to truly have the very last day to have all our entire board advisor across 12 domain of expertise, from your legal, safety, financial to your marketing, sales, business partnership, and visibility building, and all the way to that optimize human capital, right? The talent acquisition. How do you make sure people don't just quit on you? They actually like feel well supported, have the track of growth, and then truly align with you and your company. They have self motivation, not feeling like you constantly have to pull them up to be at your level, right? And then sometimes a lot of us have that heart of like, oh, I see them potential more than they do. But if we're constantly in that way of dragging them behind us, and then we're gonna get buried, right? Um, so it's this combination things that we really wanted to create about giving you the tools, the strategy, and not just like cookie cutter way. We're working with you one on one, having a conversation and discussion from both the personal side and business side, and then having fun along the way with it. Right. So for anybody who wanted to learn more, go to postpointpass.com/retreat to find out, or just go to bookofyouretreat.com. Now, when we're thinking about these retreats, something else we do differently is we actually let you tell us what's the best weekend, because we wanted to make sure the people there, you can be prepared. Because the goal is what? Having a company that want work like a clockwork. So you have to have the team and knowing what to do, have the system in place. And we wanted to make sure you are prepared for that to be able to unplug for 4 days, because that's the best time if you don't stop, if you do the same thing over and over again, that's why you keep seeing resistance. And you're always be in a state of chaos. And even you feel like you're in a managed chaos, right? Oh, I can get through this part until I get to the next part, right? Then the chaos will never stop unless you give yourself the permission to say, I have to stop to figure out a better way to have people, the right people help me, and not feeling like, oh, I'm fundraising here. I still need to get myself another system. And I needed to build out that program and that partnership saying, oh, I still need to send a proposal out. Then it never ends, right? So Lorca, tell us a little bit about that state of, we would say there are some people are really reactive to all the chaos, where some people can manage the chaos, where some people say, I would actually know how to not be so chaotic.
Mhm. I mean, arguably chaos feels good, right? It has a lot in common with excitement, right? It has a lot of in common with new things. It has a lot in common with feeling needed for a lot of people, right? I mean, if there's chaos and we are right in the middle of it, then we feel important and needed. And and so really having the courage to ask ourselves whether that's actually what's going on, or whether we're going for the sugar instead of the nutrition in that particular experience. So the invitation to slow down, the invitation to take breaks, to add buffer zones, to build in transition, all of those things uh, are increasingly beautifully supported by science and by history in learning that how we recover is materially how we perform. And this is even showing up really beautifully a lot in athletics. Some of the top trainers that I've known and worked with are as interested in how they build in recovery as to how they build in the push. So this is beautifully true in politics. It's beautifully true in business. It's beautifully true for people who are on the front lines. And when I say front lines, I mean first responders, I mean military, I mean educators, right? So um, this, if we want to actually achieve more, um, we accept on some level that we do less in order to build a real, what can feel almost like a miraculous elegance to what actually occurs, and it's occurring without the personal sacrifice of ourselves.
What do you say to the people who are struggling on accepting the concept? Because they
Mhm.
are there's something always popping up and they couldn't even see it clearly.
Yeah.
We see many of the client is one way they're saying we have to scale our business. We need to bring on more people to do ABC so that I can offload. So the idea is there, but then something else come up and they drop the concept completely, right?
Hmm.
Or the other people's like, just let me fundraise for the next 2 months, then I'll be ready to think about what to do next. But what they're not seeing is even you have the money coming in, you don't know what to do immediately to turn on the switch, then you're going to burn the funding really quickly. And then you're going to feel even more stressed to keep funding again, right? Raising fund again.
Hmm.
So how do you help people in those state of constantly like short term, long term, they're not really able to see what need to be doing, and they don't really see the value of of not to say they need to slow down, but we have to have a point of transition, the point of reality check.
Yeah. There is a lovely analogy for a resilient system that was given to me by the head of a civil engineering company once. So I asked him once, I said, when I say resilience, what does that mean to you, like in your world? And he said, I think of a pipe filled with rods. And he said, if it's really tightly packed with rods, you can crack the outside of the pipe and those cracks will go all the way through all the rods. Okay. But he said if you take even one or two of those rods out, there's just a little bit of leeway, you can crack the side of the pipe, the crack will go all the way through the pipe, and the rods will all maintain their integrity. And so we can use this as an interesting measure for ourselves or for our organization, right? We are really designed to want to complete, to give in the world, to heal, to fix, to invent, all of these things. And but we have to first ask ourselves, what is the level of fragility in the existing system? So greeting that with self-compassion first, asking, am I the first person to ever be in this situation? Are there others who have found beautifully innovative systems or who have found spaciousness within themselves to even start, and the courage, right? To start trying something different. Um, and, and because the alternative to that is basically a designed, planned, um, well, not obsolescence, but basically a designed self-destruct point. If you're giving more than you're taking in for any persistent length of time, and it's not okay. I mean, I'm fundamentally object to burnout on any level. It's not all right to sacrifice humans. Um, when it's preventable, right? So to start to have the courage to say, what if I can be one of those humans who can beautifully move towards this place of operating from spaciousness, from health within the system, the ecosystem that we are, and from a new lightness? That is an extraordinary invitation, and it pays off again and again and again, not only on your professional life, but on your personal life and in the planet as a whole. So the stakes are very high, that we don't all keep doing what we have been doing.
Yes, it's as you're saying, even the smaller movements, right? We are not when you have a smaller movement with the right people, create massive effect.
Mhm,
And yes, the fear comes to when we are individuals that don't have all the tools. That seems like if I slow down, if I stop, I still don't know what to do, so I'm gonna get myself into more trouble than what it is.
mhm,
And then because the fear, sometimes even you see mentors, you see resources, people offer to help, is even more of a fear, like, am I doing the right thing?
mhm. Yeah, yeah. It takes courage, but if we design for support at the same time, then you need less and less courage because you're beautifully supported. So that's very much what we're working with this particular retreat, and in the idea of how do we create beautifully supported humans, right? Who therefore need less and less fear to do, or courage to do beautifully bold things with low effort. So it's a lovely feedback loop that we move into.
Yes. And in any transition, whether people are in a place of taking on those bigger clients, or they're ready to exit the company, or the people who's like, oh, I'm in this great corporate position and I'm creating something on my own. No matter what, there is courage required every day of the life. So if
Mhm,
we actually have the right support in every different level, that sometimes you don't even know what the support looks like. But if you already build them in place, then you don't even have to feel like you need to ask the right question for you to gain support, because the support system is already there to be able to predict what you need. And therefore you don't have to be in that um chaos state that is always reactive. You can feel the excitement of what you ought to be, that creative energy, and to make yourself feel much better with every activity that you're doing. And then when you are able to have that support, it's no longer ineffective delegation. It's actually much higher functioning people around you that they also work in their own genius zone. So everyone is complementary, not feel like you're latching on everybody else's energy just to get by.
yeah, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling, and it gets addictive once you get there. Look, I wanna design more of this.
Yeah. I would love to chat with you guys more about this concept, how to work. Go to Sabrina. Uh, cut that. wrong link. Go to bookofyouretreat.com and definitely check out. If you go to our website, postpointpass.com/retreat, you can also find out more information there. Again, we wanted to support you every step of the way. Have a chat with us if you want to see if it's a right fit for you, or perhaps even for your leadership team to go all support each other in this journey, because you guys all come back really not only refresh individually, but have a solid business strategy for the next 6 months. And that's our goal, is winning from within and from the outside. We are happy to chat with you. Happy to just book a call with us. Go to postpointpass.com/chat to find out if both the timing and the month is best for you. For anybody who has personal stories and they want to share, we're always here for you. Make a comment below on LinkedIn or tag one of us, Lorca or myself. We're happy to brainstorm, because at the end of the day, sometimes we all know resources are out there, but we just don't know which is the good one. We're happy to point you to the right direction. Okay, there can be so much we can do. And if you know a successful story, how you being able to build resilience, then apply to be a speaker on our podcast. Go to healthtechgrowth.io. We would love to hear from you. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to Health Tech Growth. If you're a healthcare tech innovator or founder interested in being a featured guest on our show, visit healthtechgrowth.io to learn more.